The soft glow of the morning sun spilled over the narrow streets of the bustling neighborhood where Zufishan lived. Her home, modest yet brimming with warmth, was filled with the aroma of freshly brewed tea and the quiet hum of her family starting their day. Zufishan, a young woman with an unassuming beauty and a heart as gentle as her smile, stood by the window, her hands busy embroidering a delicate pattern on a shawl. But her mind was elsewhere, lost in thoughts of Azar. Azar, her cousin and fiancé, was her childhood companion, confidant, and, more recently, the man she had fallen deeply in love with. Their love had blossomed in the folds of their ordinary lives, simple exchanges during family gatherings, stolen glances across crowded rooms, and conversations that stretched long into the night. Their engagement had been arranged by their families, a union welcomed with open arms. But what made it special was the bond they had nurtured over the years, a bond that transcended mere obligation. As the day progressed, the house came alive with laughter and chatter. Azar was leaving for a short trip abroad to finalize some work before their wedding, and the family had gathered to see him off. He stood in the middle of the living room, his suitcase by his side, exchanging light-hearted banter with his uncles and cousins. But his eyes, warm and attentive, often sought Zufishan across the room. Zufishan, sitting quietly with her younger sister, avoided his gaze, her cheeks tinged with a soft blush. Yet, her heart was heavy. The thought of his absence, even for a few weeks, made her anxious. Azar's voice broke through her thoughts. He stood in front of her, holding out a small, wrapped box. "This is for you." Her fingers trembled slightly as she took the box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet, with a small charm in the shape of a crescent moon. "You always said you loved the moon," he said, his voice soft. "Now you can carry it with you, even during the day." Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back, mustering a smile. "Thank you," she whispered. He hesitated for a moment before leaning in. "I'll be back before you know it," he said, his voice low enough for only her to hear. "And when I do, we'll start the rest of our lives together." Unbeknownst to the happy family, another set of eyes watched Zufishan from the shadows. Alam Shah, a distant relative and a guest at the gathering, had arrived uninvited. His wealth and influence made him a figure of both admiration and fear, but his intentions were far from noble. From the moment he saw Zufishan, he was captivated not by her beauty alone but by the quiet strength in her demeanor, the innocence in her laughter. To Alam Shah, she wasn't just a woman, she was a prize to be won. As the family bid farewell to Azar at the airport, Alam Shah lingered in the background, unnoticed but calculating. His obsession grew with each passing moment, and in his mind, a sinister plan began to take shape. "If she can smile like that for Azar," he thought, "imagine how radiant she'll be when she's mine." That night Zufishan sat by her window, the silver bracelet glinting in the moonlight. She traced the crescent moon charm with her fingers, her thoughts filled with Azar. She imagined their life together, a small house filled with love, the sound of children's laughter echoing through the halls, and the two of them growing old side by side. Her heart swelled with hope, and a tinge of sadness at his absence. Picking up her diary, she began to write. "Azar, I don't know when I started loving you. Maybe it was the way you always saved the last piece of fruit for me, or how you remembered the little things I liked. Maybe it was when you told me I was your best friend, even when you had so many around you. But now, every moment without you feels like an eternity. Come back soon, and let's make our dreams a reality." She closed the diary, hugging it to her chest. Little did she know that the dream she cherished so dearly was about to be shattered. In the days following Azar's departure, preparations for the wedding began in full swing. The house buzzed with excitement as relatives discussed the arrangement's decorations, menus, and the guest list. Zufishan, though shy, couldn't help but feel a flutter of joy when her aunt teased her about her trousseau. Yet, amidst the celebrations, a shadow loomed. Alam Shah began making frequent visits, under the pretense of being a well-wisher. He charmed the elders with his generous offers to assist with the wedding, and occasionally brought expensive gifts for the family. Zufishan's father, a humble man with limited means, felt overwhelmed by Alam Shah's kindness, unaware of his ulterior motives. One evening, Zufishan found herself alone in the courtyard, folding freshly dried clothes. Alam Shah appeared unexpectedly, his demeanor friendly but with an edge that unsettled her. "You must be very happy," he said, his eyes fixed on her. "Azar is a lucky man." Zufishan nodded politely, avoiding his gaze. "We've known each other since childhood," she said, hoping to end the conversation quickly. "But does he truly deserve you?" Alam Shah's voice turned darker, his words laced with insinuation. "A man's worth isn't measured by how long he's known someone, Zufishan. It's measured by what he can give her. And I can give you the world." Zufishan froze, her heart racing. "You're mistaken," she said firmly, stepping back. "Azar is everything I've ever wanted." Before Alam Shah could reply, her younger brother called her from inside, breaking the tension. She hurried away, clutching the clothes tightly to her chest, her mind reeling. For the first time she felt a pang of fear, an ominous sense that her happiness was in danger. That night, as Zufishan lay awake, she clutched the bracelet Azar had given her. Tears streamed down her face, not from sadness but from a growing determination. "No one will take this away from me," she whispered to herself. "Azar and I belong together." But fate, as it often does, had other plans.